Stay here for just a little longer. Notice what has already changed. Nothing outside of you may be different. Your responsibilities are still there. Your unanswered emails still exist. Tomorrow has not disappeared. And yet, perhaps your breathing feels a little slower. Your shoulders feel a little lighter. Your thoughts are no longer racing quite as loudly. This is one of the quiet miracles of mindfulness. The world doesn't always have to change before your experience of it begins to change. The Buddhist teachings often point toward a simple realization. Peace is not something you chase. It is something you uncover when the constant chasing comes to rest. Imagine a lake after a powerful storm. The wind eventually stops. The waves slowly settle. The water becomes still enough to reflect the moon once again. The moon was never missing. The reflection only disappeared because the water could not become still. Your mind is much the same. Many people believe they have lost their inner peace. Perhaps it has never left. Perhaps it has simply been hidden beneath restless thoughts. Think about the way you speak to yourself. If your closest friend came to you exhausted and overwhelmed, would you say, "You're not doing enough. You should be stronger. Everyone else is ahead of you"? Of course not. You would probably offer kindness. You would remind them to rest. You would tell them that one difficult season does not define an entire life. So why is it often easier to show compassion to everyone except ourselves? Buddhist practice gently invites us to become our own compassionate companion. Not by pretending everything is perfect, not by denying pain, but by meeting each moment without unnecessary judgment. Instead of saying, "I shouldn't feel this way," try asking, "What does this feeling need from me right now?" Sometimes the answer isn't another solution. Sometimes it's simply a deeper breath, a glass of water, a quiet walk, 5 minutes without your phone, a few moments watching sunlight move across the room. Healing often begins in places that appear wonderfully ordinary. There is another truth that many people spend years trying to discover. You are not your thoughts. Thoughts arrive. Thoughts leave. Just like clouds passing through an open sky. The sky never becomes the cloud. Likewise, your awareness is far greater than the worries passing through your mind. Some thoughts bring fear. Some bring hope. Some replay old memories. Others invent futures that may never come. You don't have to follow every thought that knocks on the door. You can simply notice it. Smile gently, and let it continue on its way. This is not suppression. This is freedom. When we stop arguing with every passing thought, the mind gradually remembers its natural spaciousness. Our modern world celebrates constant motion. Move faster. Produce more. Stay connected. Never fall behind. Yet nature teaches a different rhythm. The sunrise never rushes. The seasons never compete. A flower doesn't bloom because another flower bloomed first. Each unfolds according to its own time. Perhaps your journey deserves the same patience. You don't have to compare your chapter 3 to someone else's chapter 20. You don't have to measure your value by your productivity. Your worth has never depended on how exhausted you become. You were worthy before your achievements. You remain worthy during your struggles. And you will still be worthy while you rest. That truth is easy to forget, but it is always waiting to be remembered. As this moment comes to a close, imagine setting down the invisible backpack we spoke about earlier. Not forever, just for today. Set down the expectations. Set down the pressure to have every answer. Set down the habit of carrying tomorrow before tomorrow arrives. Notice how much lighter your heart feels when it carries only this moment. One breath. One heartbeat, one peaceful step. That is enough. That has always been enough. Tonight, before you fall asleep, try one small practice. Place one hand gently over your heart. Take 3 slow breaths. Then quietly say to yourself, "I do not need to earn this moment of rest. I allow myself to be exactly where I am. I welcome peace without chasing perfection." Repeat these words as often as you need, not because they magically erase every challenge, but because they gently remind your nervous system that it is finally safe to soften. Little by little, this simple practice can transform not only your evenings, but the way you walk through each day. The quietest changes often become the most lasting ones. Remember this whenever life begins to feel overwhelming again. You do not have to carry the entire mountain. You only need to take the next peaceful step. You do not have to silence every thought. You only need to stop believing that every thought deserves your attention. You do not have to become someone new. You only need to return to the calm, compassionate awareness that has been within you all along. That quiet place has never abandoned you. Whenever you pause, whenever you breathe, whenever you choose kindness over self-judgment, you are already finding your way home. So tonight, give yourself permission to rest. Not because you finished everything, but because your heart deserves gentleness. Your mind deserves silence. And your life deserves to be experienced, not rushed through. May you move through tomorrow with a softer heart. May your thoughts become lighter. May your breathing become deeper. May you discover that the peace you have been searching for has been quietly walking beside you all along. Thank you for sharing these peaceful moments with us. If this reflection brought even a little more calm into your day, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to Soft Zen Mind. Your support helps us continue creating gentle, mindful reflections for anyone seeking inner peace. Share this video with someone who may need permission to slow down today. Until we meet again, be gentle with your mind, be patient with your heart, and remember, sometimes the most courageous thing you can do is simply give yourself a break. Have you noticed something strange lately? Even when nothing terrible is happening, your mind still refuses to rest. You finally sit down after a long day, hoping for a few moments of peace, but instead, your thoughts become louder. You replay conversations that ended hours ago. You imagine problems that haven't even happened. You criticize yourself for not doing enough, not being enough, not moving fast enough. And somewhere inside, a quiet voice whispers, "Keep going. Don't stop. Everyone else is ahead." So you keep pushing, even though you're tired, even though your heart has been asking for a pause for a very long time. But here's a question that may change everything. What if your exhaustion isn't caused by how much you've done, but by how little permission you've given yourself to simply be? Take a slow breath. Not because someone told you to, but because perhaps for the first time today, you found a place where no one is asking anything from you. This isn't another productivity lesson. This isn't about becoming a better version of yourself overnight. This is something much older, much quieter, and surprisingly simple. One gentle truth inspired by Buddhist wisdom has comforted restless hearts for centuries. Not because it promises a perfect life, but because it reminds us that peace was never hiding somewhere far away. It has been waiting underneath the noise. Today, you don't have to solve your entire life. You only have to stay here for these few moments, because your mind deserves a break. And maybe, so do you. Many people believe rest must be earned. We tell ourselves, "I'll relax after I finish everything. I'll slow down once life gets easier. I'll be happy when I finally become successful." But have you ever noticed? The finish line keeps moving. Every achievement creates another expectation. Every goal becomes another beginning. The mountain never seems to end. And without realizing it, we become prisoners of our own ambition. Buddhist teachings gently point toward something that sounds almost impossible in today's world. The present moment is not standing between you and your life. It is your life. Read that again in your heart. Not tomorrow, not next weekend, not after the promotion, not after everyone finally approves of you. Life is quietly unfolding, right here, while your tea grows cold, while sunlight slips through the window, while your breathing continues without asking for recognition. So much beauty passes unnoticed because our attention lives somewhere else. The mind becomes exhausted not only because it thinks too much, but because it rarely arrives where the body already is. Maybe that's why even vacations sometimes fail to make us feel rested. The body changes location. The mind brings its suitcase of worries along. True rest isn't found by escaping your surroundings. It begins by gently returning to yourself. Imagine carrying a heavy backpack every single day. First, you barely notice the weight, but over time, your shoulders ache, your back tightens, your breathing becomes shallow. Now imagine someone quietly asking, "Would you like to put it down for a moment?" Most people would say, "I can't." Not because they truly can't, but because they've forgotten they were carrying it. This invisible backpack is filled with expectations, the need to prove yourself, the fear of disappointing others, the endless comparison that whispers, You should already be further ahead. Every notification, every deadline, every perfectly filtered image online adds another small stone. Eventually, the backpack becomes so heavy that even joy feels difficult to carry. The Buddha often emphasized that suffering grows when we cling too tightly, not because having dreams is wrong, not because effort is wrong, but because gripping every outcome with fear leaves no room for peace. Picture holding a handful of sand. The tighter you squeeze, the faster it slips through your fingers. Life behaves in much the same way. Peace isn't created by tighter control. It appears when the grip softens. Not giving up, not becoming lazy, simply allowing yourself to breathe without constantly measuring your worth. Here's something many people never hear. You are allowed to pause. Before life gives you permission, read that slowly, because many of us secretly believe exhaustion is proof that we're valuable. If we're busy, we matter. If we're overwhelmed, we're important. If we're constantly sacrificing ourselves, then maybe we've earned love. But that belief quietly steals years from our lives. The tree does not apologize for resting during winter. The moon never feels guilty for disappearing before becoming full again. Nature understands something we often forget. Everything meaningful moves in cycles. Rest, growth, stillness, movement. Inhale, exhale. Why should human hearts be any different? Maybe your soul isn't asking you to become stronger today. Maybe it's asking you to become softer, because softness is not weakness. Softness is where healing begins. For a moment, close your eyes if it feels comfortable. Notice the chair supporting your body. Notice the air touching your skin. Notice that your breathing has continued this entire time, without needing your control. There is incredible wisdom in that. Life already knows how to carry much of what you're trying so desperately to manage. Not everything requires force. Some things simply ask for trust. And perhaps, this is where your break truly begins. Not tomorrow, not after fixing yourself. Right here, in this quiet moment, where nothing needs to be added, and nothing needs to be taken away. Only noticed, only welcomed, only gently lived.